How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to another A Look Behind the Post. I'm very happy this is the 10th episode, and I have a very special guest, someone who's really inspired me throughout my journey of the last 2.5 years as I've started to learn and earn online. So I'm not going to waste any time. We'll jump right into it. The very inspiring Mr. Steve Lawson. Welcome to A Look Behind the Post.
Thank you very much, Alan. It's a real pleasure to be on your show. I've been following it for a few weeks now, and it seems to be going really well. And it's very humbling to be invited on as a guest, so I much appreciate it.
No, you're more than welcome. As I said, you've been a huge inspiration, not just to me, but to many people in our circle of friends. Your story is absolutely incredible. Obviously, everyone kind of looks to that next level as somewhere to try and reach. So I think you've set a very high benchmark for a lot of people, and that's appreciated.
Well, it's very kind of you to say so. From my perspective, it's very humbling. But for me, I think the reality is I've just been very consistent. I've made myself, well, in fact, I put myself out there on a daily basis. So for certainly the last 3 or 4 years, people would have seen me very active on social media sites like Facebook, posting pretty much every day and just really getting my face out there. So people are seeing me more. I guess that's, being reflected back by other people that just see me being consistent. And I always say to people that I work with, being consistent is the key. Because in this industry that we're involved with, the network marketing industry, everything revolves around being consistent and being seen to be taking action on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's why people, know me more these days and perhaps follow me and comment and like on my posts, is because I'm there all the time. I guess I'm that kind of solid team player that's always there, So I think that's probably why people look up to me to a certain extent,
Yeah, consistency is definitely a key, and it's something I've tried to focus on certainly the last few months, and kind of using this show to get my own face out there. But get used to doing videos and kind of let people know, who you are, and it's a good little window into your own personality. And because ultimately, obviously, people join people. What you're selling or what you're promoting. Not that it doesn't matter, but people are more concerned about the person that are joining rather than the program, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when I first started out, I guess I very quickly realized that this is a people business. And if people were going to get involved with any of the business opportunities or buy any of the products that I might promote, then they would need to feel confident. They would, about me as a person, they would want to feel safe that they're getting involved with the right person. And so I knew that I had to get myself out there in front of people and show who I am and show the real Steve, and that I'm not some kind of, hyped up con artist trying to make a quick buck selling, a snake oil salesman's type of thing, because when new people come online, it's like the Wild West. People really don't know what they're getting into, because you get bombarded. Once you get involved in it, you get bombarded with so many different business opportunities, products, services, so much information. And it's very difficult to find the people that are real, and I think because I've always been very open and transparent and put myself out there, made many mistakes, and I think that's what people respect, and they can very quickly judge, who are the individuals that they can trust and who are the ones that are a little bit, fly by night. So yeah. I think it's just that question of making yourself very, very transparent. That's certainly worked for me.
It's one thing that I certainly admire you for. Even when you have made a mistake, you've always been the first to come out and say, I made a mistake, and this is what I'm trying to do to put it right, or this is what I'm doing next. And that stands to you an awful lot.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this whole industry is, especially when you're starting off, I like to talk about things in the terms of new people coming in to the industry. You can make mistakes. You can get involved in the wrong projects. You can say the wrong things, and it's a learning curve. Everybody has to go on this learning curve. And I think if you are upfront and honest with people, and if you do hold your hands up and say, look, I got my information wrong. I was given the wrong information. This is not what I thought was going to happen. When something goes wrong, and I think if you're honest and open about it, people accept that. And that's what I've always tried to be, is to be very open and honest with people and say to them, look, this is what I believe is the genuine article. This is what I believe is real. And this is what I think is going to be, perhaps worth getting involved with, or it's a product that I recommend because I've used it and I think it's a good thing. And that's what I do. I just try to be transparent and honest. And I think that's what people want. They want honesty, because we are bombarded with, like I say, we're bombarded with so many different things. We look up to these individuals and we believe everything that they say. And it's really just a question over time, really beginning to learn, who are the people that got your best interests at heart, and who are the ones that are just, will do anything to make a quick buck. And I think that's perhaps a difference that people see in me, and indeed with yourself, because I see you as being very much a similar type of marketer to myself. So yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I always think of myself as I'd never make a good salesman, but it's easier just to talk about your own journey. And if people want to follow along, that's great. And if not, that's totally fine too.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting you say salesperson, because part of my journey, we may get into this later in the show, but I've always been and always thought of myself as being absolutely the worst salesperson on the planet. Absolutely terrifies me. The thought of selling anything to anybody always terrified me. And all the way through my younger years, through my 20s and 30s, and even into my 40s, I was always in absolute fear of selling. And so it was kind of ironic in a way that I would get involved in this industry where the perception is that you're selling something. But, I changed my perception from the idea of selling something to the idea of sharing something, sharing my knowledge on a product or a service or a business. And I think once I got that into my mindset and really just completely avoided the whole thought of selling something, that's when I became much more comfortable with the idea of network marketing, specifically. So, it's one of those things that is a mindset issue for a lot of people. It can be a barrier, but you just kind of switch things over in your mind, and then it can be easy.
I think when people are brand new, that they probably do feel like they're on the salesman side, but like once you get the right people around you, and if you stick around long enough, that mindset, I think, automatically just happens, because you are just sharing your own journey and people follow along. It becomes easier.
You very quickly, I think, if you do this consistently and follow the right people, you very quickly learn what they do, and you can see that they're not selling. They're literally just sharing that information. They're highlighting certain things. They're not doing the hard sell. There are some people that do, and there's some people that are very good at it and very good talkers and are very persuasive. But those individuals are few and far between, and for the average person, I say average, people like perhaps you and myself, we feel like we're the average person. For us, it's much easier to, avoid that whole kind of selling mentality and just think about this in terms of sharing what you're doing. Because many people will get involved in a business and it will just be really just a hobby. It's just something they're getting involved in, and they're not really taking it too seriously. It becomes a hobby. And for those that get into it in a big way and it becomes a business for them, that then you take it to that next level in terms of your marketing and your strategies and everything. But ultimately, it's just sharing information.
Yeah. Do you find, or this is something I always think, well, I know certainly it was true in my own opinion or my own circumstance, that people look to earn money online or looking for new ways to earn when there's no other option. But it's probably the worst time they can ever start a business. But obviously, everyone needs to start. And like when I first started online, I had no money. Things couldn't have been worse for me. Like I'd moved back home to like my parents' house, and I used to just be literally crying at night and going, "How am I going to ever change this situation that I'm in?" But I think a lot of people start like Googling and going to YouTube and all that when they hit that kind of brick wall.
Yeah, what you've said there, relates to myself, and the reasons why I got involved, in this online network marketing journey that I've been on for the last 5 years. Most people, let's say the average person, I guess, is, they're working, they've got a job, they've got a regular paycheck coming in, they might have a family, they are in that kind of comfort zone, if you like. They are in a comfort zone, and it's only when I think things go wrong in their lives, maybe they lose their job, maybe some big unexpected bill comes into the household, maybe there's family issues. It's only when you start to have those issues that take you out of that comfort zone that people then start to look around for other ways to generate some extra income. And for me, it was a question of, I literally had lost everything that I'd spent 25 years in my career building up, because I had struggled with certain things within my business, and I ended up losing everything. So I was way, way out of my comfort zone, and I was literally at that place where you got to do something, and so it was that fear that was driving me to look for something else, and that's what brought me online. And and I tried many different things. I was looking at changing careers, retraining. I'd retrained as a plumber for a couple of years. I was looking to create a plumbing business. I set up an online clothing retail shop, web shop. Yeah. I tried different things, and it was because I had literally lost everything. I had nothing to lose, in effect. And I think this is what often happens, is that people, when they get to a point in their lives where they feel like they've got nothing else to lose, they then start looking online and come across this network marketing opportunity. And for me, it's been a blessing, because not only was I able to generate, a brilliant income, literally transform my life in terms of getting back on my feet again at an age, I was about 48 when I started. But it also opened me up to a different world of personal growth, self-development, all kinds of things that I never considered in the past, and it opened my mind up to wanting to become a much better individual. And I think that's one of the great things about the network marketing model as a business, is that you've got all these other things that can help you grow and develop as a person, and help to change the mindset. So yeah.
The mindset is huge, but I often find people don't want to learn the small little skills, to kind of progress themselves. They just want that easy option. But I like learning, so I'll always be working on something in the background. But the more skills that you start to learn, even if it's just something small, it helps you along the way. The next thing, it becomes easier because you already know this other little part across here, and I think that stops people. But
it's interesting, because when I first came online, like I said, I was, I started a clothing retail web shop. But I quickly realized it's one thing setting up a website, but it's a completely different ballgame when it comes to getting that website in front of people.
Yeah.
So, I had to start trying to understand how to get people to come and look at my site. When I first got started, I was so naive. I thought, I'll build the website and everybody will come, but it just obviously doesn't work like that. And so that's really how I got involved with network marketing, because I started to learn and search how to get my website out there in front of other people. So that started me off on my education in a way, because like you say, a lot of people don't want to learn the basics. They don't want to spend time educating themselves, but the reality is you have to.
Yeah.
And it's the same with any type of business or industry. If you are employed in a new job, you have to go through a certain amount of training. You have to go through books and learn stuff, and you get given stuff from your employer, and you've got to learn it, right? And that's how you progress in your job. And it's the same if you're running a company. You've got to learn all these different skills, whether it's bookkeeping, whether it's man management skills, health and safety, all these things you have to learn. And so people get this or have this assumption that you can make money online, but literally do nothing in terms of education, and you're going to be inundated with all this money coming. It doesn't work like that. You've got to learn some basic skills. And for me, I spent many hours, I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours poring over videos, going through PDFs, looking, listening to podcasts, learning and educating myself on how to get traffic, how to speak to people, all these different things, the personal development. It's all time consuming, and you have to dedicate a certain amount of your time to learn these skills. And, one of the things I did was to study how to build websites, studied copywriting skills, email marketing. I had to spend a lot of time doing that. And I think a lot of people forget that. And when they look at somebody who's had, some success, what they don't realize is the hours and the late nights and staying up till 3 a.m, listening to webinars and getting all that knowledge and, getting it into their heads, and then using that knowledge to go out and start doing their own marketing. And it's all trial and error from that point onwards, but you've got to learn the basic skills. And I would spend hours learning how to use WordPress, creating landing pages, sales funnels. I used to do all that stuff, and it took a long time. And so people, I think, getting started have to acknowledge and have to accept that the people that they are looking up to, who may have success and they may be the people that they want to emulate, well, they're going to have to put in the time and effort to get those basic skills and implement those skills, take the action that those people that they look up to did. And I think that's really, really important message to get across to people, because you see so many people online who criticize some of the leaders, if you like, and say, well, it's okay for them, it's easy for them. Well, it wasn't easy at the beginning. We all started from the same point, and we all had to put the time and effort in. And for a period of time when I first got started, I always used to think that there's this big secret that all the top network marketers had, and it was like a special club that you would have to finally find some way of getting involved in so that you could understand what they were doing. But the truth is they just put the time, the effort, and they honed their skills and they put themselves out there, and that's really what got them to where they are today. And there is no big secret, there is no special club. And once you learn that and you realize that there's certain things you have to do, that's when you start to see the progress, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. The key, or the thing that people are missing, is the hard work part.
It is true. It's true. It's interesting because I worked hard in the first, let's say, the first 3 years. I put my heart and soul into the business. Just like I would with any type of business, whether it be an online business or whether it be an offline business. I think if you're serious about creating that, long-term sustainable passive income that we see other marketers getting, you have to be realistic and you have to dedicate yourself. And that involves putting in the effort. That involves, if you're working 9 to 5 or whatever hours you're working, you have to dedicate yourself. And you come home every day, no matter how hard it might seem, you have to put in the time to learn those skills and to take action. And it is hard work, but the difference is, for example, with a regular business, let's say a bricks and mortar style business, that is something that you have to pretty much do consistently all the time. Whereas with a network marketing business, because of the nature of the way that network marketing is, the model is actually being built, is that you do the work once and then you'll get the benefits over the time, and so it frees up your time, and you get that spare time to do the things that you really enjoy, and if you're part-time doing it, trying to go full-time, it's a struggle. But in my view, the struggle is worth it. The struggle is worth it, because the potentials are, to make the life-changing income, to have the free time, to do what you want, that to me is worth fighting for, in my view,
Yeah, 100%. That's obviously, I still work at Dublin Airport, and we do 12-hour shifts. But as soon as my shift is over, all I want to do is get home and get back on, like, learning something, or tweaking something on my website. Before I started online, I could just about turn on a computer, and since then, last year, remember when master nodes were quite popular? Instead of joining one of these companies that you bought a seat in, I learned how to code and maintain my own master nodes, and I still run some of them in the background. So I get fascinated by these things, but I end up going down these little rabbit holes of learning. But they always help with the next thing.
Yeah.
And people go, well, how did you do that? Well, I took 6 hours of time, and I read and I watched, and I put it into practice. I learned how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like anything, when you practice something over and over again, it becomes, it speeds up. It just becomes simple. When it took you 20 minutes to create something, now it's only taking you 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know the steps, the process. And this is what happens, things that you have to spend time learning may take you half an hour to do it one time. The more you do it, suddenly it only takes you 5 minutes, and then suddenly you can be like banging out content, producing websites. But it all comes from that initial effort, the effort you put in at the beginning. And, I had to do that. I spent hours and hours learning WordPress. I was making websites for my teammates. I was doing all kinds of stuff in the background, staying up, working into the early hours in the morning, and putting in the time and the effort. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but you can use those skills in something else later on down the line. And this is what what people need to understand. It's not wasted knowledge. It's knowledge that you accumulate, and then you can use at different times within your journey, because the journey is always evolving.
Even if you make a mistake, that's a bigger lesson. Like I've probably learned more from making mistakes than I have from just, that went perfect, that works.
Yeah. I mean, I've made a ton of mistakes, and I still make mistakes now. And I will make mistakes moving forward. And it's just part of the journey. For me, this whole idea of network marketing and making money online, it's gone beyond a business for me. It's more of a lifestyle. It's just like a vocation now. So it's just part of my day-to-day living. And so it's just an ongoing evolutionary thing. We have some businesses that we get involved with that may not be around in the next 2 or 3 years. And then you're moving into some other aspect of network marketing, maybe another business, and it's just how it is, so all those skills that we've learned over time all stay with us, and we just use them to move around on the journey.
That's it. Speaking of promoting different things, I've always, obviously we're both in FutureNet, but when I joined FutureNet, I just stuck with it because I want to be able to talk someone through it blindfolded. Like if I wasn't at my computer, I know all the menus, I know what's happening, I stay up to date with the news. I think that's a part people missed too, is actually just staying plugged in, because it's not hard, especially now with social media, to get updates and to stay plugged into the business you're promoting. Because a lot of I'm sure I get a lot of messages, but I'm sure your phone explodes at times when there's updates with the most random of questions. that have already been answered in company content that just people don't consume.
This is a frustrating part of the network marketing industry, is that if you think about it logically, if you're coming into the industry as a newbie, if you like, somebody who's been introduced by somebody, you've never had any dealings with it before, but you're interested, you get involved with one business. In my view, you get involved with one business and you literally learn everything that you possibly can about that one business. You read that book cover to cover 10 times over. You need to know everything that's going on in that business, how it operates. You need to know the compensation structures. You need to know how to, doing all your profile, just everything that the business entails and involves. You need to be fully conversed with, and you need to plug into the emails that you get from the company. You need to plug into the webinars. You need to plug into all the information that's coming out of the company. You need to be able to know all this stuff. And because if you don't, then you're not really in business. You're not really taking it seriously. I mean, you wouldn't go into, you wouldn't get a job and then not bother to understand what your job role was. And you wouldn't, and if you were getting, emails from your boss, you wouldn't just ignore them and not read them and just sit there and twiddle your thumbs and not do anything. You'd be sacked, and it's the same with any business. And it's the same with network marketing. If you join something, if you spend money to get involved with something, and that's going to be your business, and you really want to make money from it, you've got to understand it. You've got to know everything about it. You've got to be sensible and logical about this. It's not going to happen for you unless you take it seriously. And this is the biggest frustration I have, is that people are asking simple questions over and over again. They refuse to plug themselves into the webinars that the company produced. They refuse to read the emails. They refuse to listen to their sponsors. They refuse to study anything about the business. And then when something changes, they go, oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize. Oh, it's your fault. You should have told me.
Yeah.
No, it's your business. It's your responsibility, your money. So this is a very frustrating part of the industry that we're involved with. And this is just the human condition. People think things are easy. They think they can just plug into a company and just make money overnight. And it doesn't work that way. No. And it's foolish for anybody to suggest that it does, or that it even should, because ultimately, what we're trying to do is to create an income stream. And there's only a couple of ways that you can do that in the real world, and that is to go and get a job or go and set up your own business. And for me, network marketing is the simplest, easiest, and with the biggest potential of generating income, that any ordinary person has or will have in their lifetime. And so
it's ethical.
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And I just find it frustrating, because people will happily work 9 to 5 and they'll listen to their boss and they'll take in all the things that they have to do, and they'll get on with it because they're earning. They know they're going to get paid at the end of the week.
Yeah.
But in their business, in the network marketing sphere, they don't do that. And I ask myself, why? Why? What gives them the right to think that they can earn money without putting something in, or at least understanding what it is that they've got involved with? It's a foolish way to go into the industry, and think that it's all going to come to you, and that you don't have to put anything into it.
I even found, like, I have my own support group for my team, and there's tons of support groups out there for whatever particular business that you're in. But it's even hard just to get people, even if you go get the content and put it there right in front of them, it's all in one place. It's still an effort to go take that, a couple of minutes a day and scan through it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, why? People build these groups, to assist and to help their potential prospects or their business partners, and then their business partners don't go in on on a daily basis and run through all the posts, and they don't take notice of it. and it's so simple to do, and then they're like, oh, I didn't know that was happening, or what, oh, no one told me about those changes.
Yeah.
And you think, well, it's in your group that you added yourself into, and again, it's just the human condition. People are peculiar in that respect. To me, with my mindset, the mindset that I've developed over the last 5 years, I can't understand it. Clearly, these sorts of people are so comfortable in their own mediocrity that they don't have that bigger vision, and so they're not prepared to even do the smallest of things to keep their business alive. And it's a strange one. And I think it's all in mindset at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think if someone sticks around long enough, I think obviously they're just things that they eventually do. But especially from talking to people on this show, I think it's about, if you can stick around 2 to 3 years, you're going to do something well.
I agree.
Hanging on in those early days when things are really hard.
Yeah. And I've seen people in my, in some of my teams who've gone from, working full time to then only having to work part time and then going full time online and being so much happier. It's about the individual's own vision for themselves, for their own lives. And when I was working in my company, I had a company for 12 years and I used to work 16-hour days, 6 days a week, religiously, absolutely shattered. I didn't enjoy the business because I was working so hard. But my brain was telling me this is my future. This is what I got to go through.
Yeah.
And all I was really a busy, miserable, unhappy individual that was destroying his own business because I was putting too much into it, and fighting fires every day, always trying to sort out other people's problems. And, I look at that life that I was going through. I was looking at my lifestyle and, I look back on it now and I think it was just a horrendous period of time, 12 wasted years. And then I look at network marketing and the business model, and I now look at the freedom that I have, that I enjoy. I look at the limitless potential in terms of income. I look at the number of various opportunities out there that I could tap into if I so desired. And I then think people that aren't seeing that are they have a block in their mindset. They're clearly far too comfortable in their own misery and they're not seeing it. And it's when people break out of it, and I think it's when you get to rock bottom, it's when you get to that point where you just can't take it anymore, that you then suddenly, your mind opens up to other things, and those people that have that mindset shift, which is what I call it, and start to realize that there's more to life than what they're doing, and that there are other opportunities. Those people get involved and they stick with it, like you say, couple of years, and they get right into it. They're the ones that go on to have the bigger success and enjoy all the the freedoms and the financial freedoms that it offers. And it's trying to, when people come and say to me, oh, tell me what you're doing, I want to be like you, I want to make the same amount of money that you're making, I have to ask them, what are you prepared to put into this? How much time are you prepared to put into this? How long are you going to give this? And that you've got to kind of sort those people out. You kind of filter through those people, and then you then focus your time, because your time is precious at the end of the day. You focus your time on those people that are really serious and really want to make that breakaway from their old lifestyle.
Well, I know, like, before I got started, I was working basically like six days, some days, or some weeks 7 days, and I think in that stage of my life, I kind of settled and went, well, this is just what it is, and this is where I'll be. And you presume that your job is always safe, but you can't just walk into work on a Monday morning and told, like, that's it, go, you're finished. And that was what initially opened up my mind to, there has to be more, or something that I can be in control of. without having the need of setting up a brick and mortar business.
Mm.
Having something online just can fit so many people.
To me, the online space is incredible. It's unbelievable what opportunities it offers the ordinary person. Most people are going to go out and get a job. That's just how we're brought up. We go through school, we're told this is how it is, get a good education, find a career, and boom, that's what you get stuck into. But it's very simple or very easy for people who've gone down that path, get involved in a career choice, and then find themselves after 15, 20 years in that business, their job is gone. It's suddenly they're made redundant. Suddenly the business shuts down. Suddenly there's no need for that product or service anymore because something new has come along, and then they're left, with nothing. And that can happen to any employee. We see the rise of technology changing the landscape of regular business. We see even simple jobs like serving in a McDonald's restaurant is all changing. You're seeing these new digital keypads that are getting rid of the customer service jobs. You're seeing that in the big supermarkets where you now have got your own checkout desk. You do your own checkout. You go into some of these big supermarkets, and where there used to be a person sat at each checkout, now you'll see one or two and rows of empty checkouts. And so technology is changing the way that jobs are being created for the future, and so many jobs are going to be displaced. Business is so competitive. I was involved in the transport business or logistics industry for 25 years. I ran my own company for 12, and I ended up losing it because I just couldn't compete with some of the bigger boys within my territory. And and obviously making bad business choices. I can't just say it's on one thing, but a mixture of different things meant that I lost that business, which I invested heavily into, borrowed huge amounts of money, and it ended up shutting down and losing my home. And I look at that and think anyone stands the risk to lose everything, at any given moment. There's no guarantees that your job is safe, that your business is safe. And so for me, the internet and the network marketing profession opens up that opportunity for somebody to be able to generate that safety net, whether it's, a few $100s a month to pay the bills, give you that safety net if something does go wrong whilst you look for other jobs, or whether you want to take it really seriously and build, a business that can set you free, set you free financially, set you free in terms of time. And this is really, there's nothing else out there, in my opinion. And I've looked, I've worked for other people. That means I've got to give away my time to earn, a weekly wage or a monthly salary, or I've got to create my own business. It means potentially hiring people, having staff, getting premises, investing in stock, being that person that has to be in charge of everything and oversee everything, lots of stress, lots of financial worry.
Yeah.
Or
that's the thing. You can take the stress away from it. You don't have to be somewhere. You don't have to, like you mentioned you're having a day off today, a well-deserved day off, but that's your choice because you're in control of it. You control how much you earn and when you work.
Exactly. And it's quite ironic in a way that I say to you, I'm having a day off.
Yeah.
Well, every day is a day off. For me, every day is a day off. It's just that I simply choose to work on my business when I feel like it, throughout the course of the day. I might decide I'll spend a couple of hours in the evening, or I might spend a couple of hours in the morning, or it might just be I'm on my mobile phone throughout the day doing little bits and pieces. Yeah. Or I could just say I'm not doing anything today, or I'm not going to do anything tomorrow. I can choose pretty much what I want to do because I've got that income coming in on a consistent basis. But at the same time, I also know that I can't just switch off completely and shut down and not do anything and not support my team, not make videos and not, market on Facebook or YouTube or send emails out. I've still got to do that. But that to me is far less stressful than having to turn up at a job, go through the traffic jams every morning, you know, go and face my boss every day, or have to run a bricks and mortar style business, employ staff, pay wages, pay rent, pay rates, you know, have to deal with health and safety, have to deal with human resources. You know, there's no comparison. I can do what I want when I want, and the amount of money that I earn is entirely down to the amount of effort that I choose to put into my business. And that's what happens when you take it seriously. And I know what I would rather choose. And the reality, sorry, I was going to just want to say one more thing. The reality is that anyone can get involved in one of these online businesses for less than, you know, a couple of $100 in most cases. But if you want to go out and build a business, a bricks and mortar business, or you want to buy into a business, you got to invest thousands. You know, and I personally, when I bought my franchise, I had to borrow £350,000. It's about $500,000, take out that huge loan, have that on my shoulders, like a, you know, have dark cloud over my head, always worrying how I'm going to make that next payment. You don't have that with this industry, you know. For a couple $100, if you put in the effort, you can start to generate something, you know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I used to get a lot of encouragement from Mark Crosby, like, to kind of break out and do videos and all that. And for the longest time, I said, I'm not doing it. I can't. I'm too nervous. But that kind of switches when you go, would I rather be at home, make 2 videos a day on YouTube or Facebook, or do I want to go work at the airport for 12 hours?
Exactly.
The trade-off becomes very apparent, and you go, well, I know what will work for me long term versus this short-term stuff that's going to destroy me eventually. Like,
I agree. I mean, there's literally no comparison.
Yeah.
How can I compare, you know, me making a couple of videos, doing maybe a live stream on Facebook, putting a video out on YouTube, sending an email and generating income, compared to having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drive an hour to get into my, you know, previous business, walk in the door, see 25 staff all wandering around with their hands in their pockets, having to motivate them, getting their vehicles in, getting them, sorting out all their deliveries, getting them, you know, out of the door, having meetings with my supervisor and my other managers, you know, then dealing with customers, sorting out complaints, then having to talk to a sales team, having to go, you know, all day long, dealing with crap, you know. Oh, a vehicle's just broken down. Oh, sorry, I've just had an accident. Oh, I've lost a parcel. Oh, you know, customer on the phone ranting and raving because they haven't received their goods.
Yeah.
You know,
it was an easy trade-off.
A supplier not paying me for the month, you know, and now me having to go back to the bank and begging for some more money to cover me because a supplier hasn't paid me, you know, or a customer hasn't paid me. How can that compare to me making a couple of videos, you know, sending out a few posts on Facebook, and potentially I can make more money in 1 month than I could. In fact, I've made more money in 1 month doing this online stuff than I did an entire year working 14 to 16 hours a day, you know, not having any holidays and literally, you know, living a brutal lifestyle.
Yeah.
How can I possibly compare? And this is what people have to understand. You know, this is why I say people are stuck sometimes in their own mediocrity. They need to shake themselves up and realize, you know, you can't be miserable. You can't complain about your boss. You can't complain about your situation unless you're prepared to accept that you want to break free from that mediocrity, you know. And
it's always a personal choice. So
yeah,
when people give out, like where I work, I used to kind of chime in, go, yeah, it's terrible, they shouldn't be doing that. But really, it's a choice. You choose to stay there. You choose to accept what the rules are. And if you don't like them, you should leave, and you should create something for yourself.
Absolutely. And there is no barrier. There's no barrier for anybody, really. You know, nobody can come up with an excuse to say, well, you know, I can't afford it. Well, you can, because you've probably got some stuff in your garage that you could sell on eBay and raise the funds, you know, or, you know, some of these, you know, businesses you can get involved with for as little as $10. You know, it's, are you actually prepared to change? You know, are you prepared to stop whinging and whining and moaning and groaning about your lot and about how hard done by you are you prepared to lift yourself up and go out and forge a new future, you know? And the potential is there for anybody. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their education is. I left school with no qualifications. I left school at 16, couldn't wait to get away, hated it. I left school with no qualifications, and I got my first job as a working in a sports shop, you know, selling trainers, you know, at the age of 16 in a local sports shop. I lasted about 6 months before I got the sack because I wasn't turning up for work because I didn't like it. I was bored, you know. And then I got a job as a delivery van driver, you know, and that's how I got into the logistics business. I fell into it. And then I just kind of, you know, worked my way up, went from delivery driver to moving into the office, becoming an office boy, you know, then getting into a supervisor role, then a manager role, and then operations manager, and then getting my own business, you know, and borrowing money and becoming my own boss. And that was the evolution. But I never enjoyed any of it. You know, I never had any time freedom. I didn't make a lot of money. I had very little time off. And, you know, but I was stuck in this mindset, oh, I can't, you know, I can't change. I'm now in a position at my age where I want to just keep telling people that you can change. You know, there is a different way. You know, you're not stuck in that same position. If, you know, there are people that are willing to work with you to get you out of it. And that's what I love about this industry, is that people are willing to put their time and effort to help, you know, to help educate, to help motivate, to show what can be achieved. And that's really part of this whole thing now, is this vocation, as I call it, is, you know, to me, it's like my purpose now is to show people there is a better way. There is an alternative, you know. If you're not happy, if you're not comfortable with what you're doing, there is an alternative if you're prepared to go through the change, as I call it, you know, because it is a change. It's a mindset shift. It's a personal development growth journey that you have to go on for a couple of years, you know, in order to make you aware of really what's going on, you know.
Yeah, but I always have the mentality that if you can find one person that's already achieved what you want, there's no other question. It's possible because that person did it. So the only thing stopping you is your own actions, you know, your own choices.
100%. When I first got involved with network marketing, it's quite interesting. I came across a website. There was 2 young guys talking about how to build a business using social media, and in particular Facebook. And they were offering a coaching product. I think it was $6,000, and they were saying you can earn $10,000 a month, you know, if you implement our strategies, etc. And I thought, okay, you know, I borrowed the money on a credit card, bought the training, and started to learn all about Facebook marketing. And, you know, it was the sort of product that you can probably buy for $10 now, that people, or even stuff that people are giving away for free, you know, 5 years on.
Like a simple Udemy course or something like that.
Yeah, but I thought this was, because I was a complete newcomer, you know, I had no clue about any of this stuff. I didn't have a Facebook profile. I decided to invest that money and educate myself. So I spent my time learning how to market on Facebook, how to approach people. You know, I didn't have anybody. There was nobody that joined me instantly. I had to go out and I had to start to, you know, connect with people on social media, people that are complete strangers. You know, who are these people? People from different places around the world. You know, it wasn't like I was talking to people locally. It was people in the United States or in Canada or in Australia, you know, all these other English speaking countries that I was targeting. And so I had to learn that. And then, you know, I made my first connection, and and somebody actually decided to get involved and bought a product, and I made $20. And then I thought, boom, you know, okay, I've spent $6,000 to learn how to make money, but I've made 20. So if I can make 20, surely I can make another 20 and another 20, and that could then build. And that's exactly what happened. And once you've made that first connection, you made that first sale of whatever product or service or subscription, once you've done it once, you can do it again. And it's just a question of, are you willing to put yourself out there? And are you going to improve everything that you do to make it easier to make the next one, and that again comes with the education and the practice and the implementation and experimentation with different marketing techniques. And so, but it can be achieved. It can be achieved. If I can achieve it, then anybody can achieve it.
Yeah, I've started to say that a lot. If I can learn how to do this, or if I can do it, you can. It's
exactly.
We all started at the same point.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people think, oh, well, there's just not enough people out there. There's all these people that are already doing it. So there's no way I can. Well, 7
billion people on the planet.
The reality is that you will never, ever in your entire life, if you lived 100 lives, and did marketing every day, you would never run out of somebody new to show your business to.
Yeah.
You won't. It's a simple fact. And the population is growing. And the other reality is that there are, potentially, let's say, for example, on Facebook, around about 2 billion people on Facebook. Well, there's still 5 billion people that aren't on Facebook yet, and more people, more countries are connecting through social media and having access to social media every single day. So new people are learning for the first time. And it's always interesting when sometimes, I've been on Facebook for 5 years. I've been doing my entire marketing career using Facebook. And sometimes I come across people that I've never seen before that are millionaire network marketers that I look on their Facebook page and they've got 5,000 friends and I've got one mutual friend. So you realize there's 4,999 other network marketers I've never connected with, and they're out there, and this happens all the time. So it's just you're never going to run out of potential business partners, prospects, whatever you want to call them.
There's always another platform to build as well. So you don't have to just be on Facebook. You can spread yourself out over. I don't like Twitter, but some people use Twitter and all these other platforms. The possibilities are just endless.
They are endless. You've got Facebook, you've got YouTube, you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, you've got Pinterest. There's 5 prominent social media platforms. You've also got FutureNet. FutureNet as a social platform, we know that's changing soon. We're having a new setup, and that's going to attract more people.
Yeah.
There are so many ways, and then of course you then got the internet and advertising on the internet through Google ads or Bing, Yahoo. You've got the ability to generate leads through building a website, having a blog, building an email list. There are traffic exchanges like Future Ad Pro. There are so many ways that people can share information, and there's no excuses. Literally anybody could start tomorrow or today and start building a business and make money, and can completely change and transform their lives. It may not happen overnight, but if you think about it, if you were to look at your life and say, in your existing business, say you're working in a company, in a factory perhaps, you say, right, where will I be in 5 years working in this factory? Well, the likelihood is you'll still be in exactly the same place that you are today, working in that factory 5 years from now. But if you set up a network marketing business, the potential to where you could be in 5 years is that you will be handing in your notice to your boss at your factory and walking away with an incredible income, and having time freedom that you can spend with your family, friends, forevermore. And
I'm looking forward to that day. Actually, me and Ashley talk about it all the time. So I'm like, you're going to come with me. I'll get you. You'll be the person that kind of. I want that to be a memory for Ashley. I watched my dad quit this sucky job, and for something he worked hard for, and hopefully when she's older, it'll inspire her to do something for herself.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely 100% convinced it will happen. I mean, what you are doing in your own journey as a internet and network marketer, you've created this forum, if you like, to get your brand out there. You know, you are. I mean, I think it's a brilliant thing to do, and I've seen other people do it who've had great success. And you will develop this show over time into probably something much bigger, and that's going to generate a lot of interest. People will see how transparent and open and honest that you are, and they will gravitate towards you because of what you're doing. And you know, it's exactly the right thing to do. And like I say, there can be other people doing the same thing. It won't make a difference to you because there are so many people out there, and not everybody gravitates towards the same person. You know, everyone has their own followers. People who may like you wouldn't not like me, or people that like me won't gravitate towards you. It doesn't matter because there are so many people out there that we all find our own, you know, base of followers, and this is how it happens. And but you've got to, you know, like I said at the beginning, you've got to be consistent every single day doing this stuff, you know, and getting that information, putting it out there.
Well, I think I do appreciate the compliment on the show, but when I talk to my guys, and like as you said, like everyone can do the same thing. Or some people ask, like, why you give away training for free, or why show people how to use, you know, the little tools that you might need to live stream with a green screen. And but it doesn't matter. You can give everything away because the chances of someone actually doing it consistently are actually tiny. You know, that's
yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's just the way of the world at the end of the day. You know, it's like I say, it all boils down to how much desire an individual has to change their circumstances. And like I say, for me, the desire was, well, it wasn't necessarily a desire. It was a question of I had to, you know, at the age of 48, having lost everything, where was I going to go? Was I going to go back to being an employee again, working at the, you know, as a middle manager in a logistics firm, working 50 hours a week, getting 3 weeks holiday a year, and having a you know, a living wage that just meant that I was really just existing, and then having to, you know, try and find a place to rent because I had no property. What was I going to do? Was that how my life was going to be for the next 30 years as I get older, knowing that I'm going to have to compete with all these new young people coming through? You know, clearly I was at a place where I had to make a change. I had to do something different, you know, and I could see very evidently there were people online making life-changing amounts of money, and I could see what they were doing. They were out there making videos, creating landing pages, promoting a product or a service, and they were consistently doing it on a daily basis. And I just said to myself, I can do that, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make it happen. And I did. And what it meant was actually breaking down all of those fears that I held, fears that, you know, perhaps you've gone through with making video, putting your stuff out there, you know. Yeah, but, you know, I still have them. I'm still nervous on every single Facebook Live video that I make, or every YouTube video. I'm nervous about it. You know, I get those butterflies in my chest. You know, I do get those butterflies in my chest. But because I decided that the only way to get myself out there was to be seen, you know, attract people that liked what my message was, you know, could look at me as an individual and say, yes, I trust that person. Yes, you know, I believe what he's saying. I knew I had to do it. I had to break down those barriers, and it was not easy. But what was the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? You know, well, a person says no. That's the worst case scenario. And so if you keep getting no's, eventually you'll get a yes. And we've heard this saying before, you know, if you ask enough people, the more no's you get, the closer you get to that person that says yes. And then it's really just keep going. And, you know, I hated doing videos. When I first did my videos, I would literally put my mobile phone, I would actually tape it to my computer so it was at my face height, press play, start my videos, stop, right, try again, start again, stop, right, try again. I could go through 20 times, you know, in an hour trying to get a video out there. And then when I got a video that I actually thought was okay, I would then spend an hour editing out all the ums and the ahs and the you knows, all these repetitive things that we, you know, we have within our makeup that we, you know, we don't recognize as subconscious. I would go out editing them.
Yeah, I did
to make a perfect video. But after about, you know, a month of doing this, maybe 2 months of doing that, I got so tired of editing the damn things. I just thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. People will have to like me or they won't have to like me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And when I stopped doing that and I just made the video, put it out there, didn't care. I had people watching them. People were responding to them. And then when Facebook introduced their live stream, I then had to overcome that fear of, wow, I can't stop the video and start again. I can't edit it. You know, if I go live, I'm in real life. I'm talking to people and I can't make a mistake. Once I got over that fear and decided that it didn't matter anymore whether I made a mistake or not, and I used to do them every day and people responded, people came on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. And I would, you know, I am notorious for deviating and just going off track and talking and,
but that's normal.
Exactly. It is normal. But you think to yourself, oh, because sometimes you'll see a marketer that's done very well for themselves, you know, seems to be a brilliant speaker. Okay, those people exist. So what? You know, doesn't matter. There are other marketers that aren't anywhere near as good at them at speaking, but still have a good level of success. And as they do it more and more and more, they get to a point where they improve and then become like those, you know, those marketers that we hold up high on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Practice. It's practice.
But
so
I found it did get easier when, because I used to be afraid. Obviously, I'd be afraid doing a video because you're trying to appear confident and you know everything. And I found it a lot easier now just to say, even if you're on a live, listen, bear with me, I'm nervous, and people understand because everyone's gone through it. Like I think once you name it, and then you don't have to have that trying to have that mask on.
100%, 100%. Exactly. And it's a funny thing because once I'd, you know, kind of mastered my fear of doing Facebook Lives and the videos, the next challenge I had to overcome was going up on a stage and then talking in front of a room full of people. And that was like the next biggest fear that I had to overcome, because as I was progressing in my career in this online space, slowly I was being recognized by people, and I would go to an event and, you know, you start to get some recognition, you know. And then I remember I went to, I think it was the first FutureNet event in Poland, and one of the speakers on the stage, Polish guy, Mateusz Gudza, who was a big leader in FutureNet at the beginning, he was on stage making a big speech, and suddenly he called out my name and asked me to come down on stage and make a speech. And I was at the back of the stage, and I had to run down all the way. There's 4,000 people on the stage. I had to get up on the stage. He handed me the mic, and I could feel my legs literally turn to jelly, and I felt as though my knees were shaking. And I thought I must look a right fool. But that was all going on in there, because when I look back at the video, I was perfect. You know, I just picked up the mic, spoke for 2 or 3 minutes, and I suddenly realized afterwards I've just overcome the fear of speaking in front of a stage full of 4,000 people. And I've done that several times now, you know, and I've done also smaller meetings with a small group of people, you know, conference room size. And so, you know, you overcome these things over time, but
yeah,
we have to go through that, you know, that.
You did some public speaking.
Yeah,
as well.
I did. I knew that I had an issue with public speaking. You know, I'd literally be shaking. Literally, my whole body would be shaking. So I thought, well, I've got to overcome it. How am I going to overcome this? And I decided to enroll myself on a public speaking course. I went up to London, did a 2-day course with a public speaking coach, and there was probably a group of about 10 people in there, all in the same boat. We all had that same fear, and we all had to stand up through that training and give speeches, in front of 10 people. Fantastic, because that immediately broke down the barriers. You immediately became comfortable, and you realized that these guys were all rooting for you, because they all were in the same position. They had to go through the same thing. So doing that course, educating myself on certain techniques, putting myself through it, overcoming that fear, facing that fear and overcoming, that's helped me progress to the next level. And this is the difference between people that are hungry for success and want to build that long-term future, and those that are too scared and too frightened to take the next step, and are deliberately, in a way, sabotaging their potential for a better life, because they're too frightened to overcome those fears. When the reality is, the only thing you fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Because as individuals, we are all communicating with people all the time, and so it's just a perception in our heads that speaking to somebody new or a group of people is going to be so terrifying that you're going to clam up. You're not going to remember anything you want to say. That's not true. If you prepare something beforehand, you practice it, and you go out there and you just speak and do what you've been practicing, you very, very quickly become more comfortable, and you then realize, and you think, well, why was I even worried about it? It's crazy. But you've got to push yourself through that barrier. You've got to force yourself. It's like going through that door, and you walk in and it's all dark, and then suddenly you get in there and someone turns a light on, and it's oh, this isn't too bad. Yeah, that's what it's like. It's just, you've got to push yourself.
That's great.
And I did that.
Yeah, it's great advice. People just need to listen to it.
I think so. It's never as bad as you think. It never is as bad as you think.
No, well, I think people, and I know obviously we spoke about this when we met in Dublin the other week. People tend to build things up in their head far too big. Like, even I remember while I was waiting for you to walk out, I was like, how am I even going to say hello? Like, I was going, this is just bizarre. But I think I'm going to sit down. I was like, oh Jesus, like, it's lovely to meet you, but I'm nervous. Like, and there was no reason. Like, it was great to sit down and have a coffee with you, and
just like two mates having a cup of coffee. Do you know what I mean? That's how I look at it, and I understand where you're coming from, because when I first started, I would see some of these very well-known marketers, and I'd be looking at them thinking, oh, well, I'll never be as good as them. Or imagine meeting these people. He's got he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
And you think that they're not going to even want to talk to you or look at you, and yet I now regularly speak to these people, and it's just like we're speaking now. You realize they're just ordinary people that have built their business up over time, and they've made money, and they've perfected their craft, but actually they're just ordinary people. They're the same. We're all the same. And there are some people that get a little bit too big for their boots, and they let their egos take over, and you learn who they are. And I just I don't take any notice of these sorts of people. I don't have any fear of talking to these sort of people, but you just realize that they've got an ego, and you accept it. And you think, oh, I don't care, But
I think having some of the right people around you always keep you grounded.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we see enough online. We see certain individuals in different businesses that think that they're bigger than the company, and they think that they know more than everybody else, and they hold themselves up as some kind of guru or some kind of marketing god. And you quickly see these people, and you think, shake my head. It's but there are so many other great individuals out there, great leaders, people that you can surround yourself with. And that's what I try to do. I surround myself with the people that are, genuinely good, transparent, people who've got your best interests at heart, and you will get to know who they are over time.
Yeah, but actually, you very quickly. I think after maybe 6 or 7 months, I was okay. I like this guy. I like that guy.
Yeah,
he's a bit strange.
Yeah,
whatever it is, because the character kind of comes true. I think one thing that stands to you is that you're very black and white. You're very opinionated, especially on Facebook. It's something I'm not really very opinionated on many things. I will post things, but they're generally just nice kind of topics. But you've no problem getting in and.
I'll give you a little bit of insight into why that is. Part of it is a strategy, if you like, and part of it is because it's what I genuinely believe, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always sort of two sides to it, because at the end of the day, I am still a network marketer. I'm in marketing, and there are certain things like, you know, some people should say you should never post about religion or politics, and I think to myself, well, I disagree with that, you know, because it gets people, you know, for good or for bad, it gets people interested, you know. It does, because everyone's got an opinion on stuff, you know, and people love to express their opinions.
Yeah, so and it polarizes the audience.
It does, to a certain extent. So part of it is a marketing strategy that, you know, creates conversation, you know, whether it's sometimes good or sometimes bad. It does create some engagement on the posts, and people, you know, I mean, I for example, I am by in political terms, I'm what you would say a conservative. Okay, that's the ideology I believe in more. Capitalism and conservatism is my ideology, and therefore, if I post about those things, there's certain individuals that I've got a very different view, you know, more of a left-wing socialist type of ideology. They are, you know, they don't want to come near me because they don't believe in it, you know.
Yeah.
Now, that's okay for them to take that view. That's fine. You know, it's their job. But I am much more open than that. I'm much more prepared to listen to what other people got to say. And I wouldn't judge them based on their own political views. I judge them on how they treat other people and how they interact with people. I don't judge them on their politics. I might disagree with them, but I don't judge them. But there will be people that will judge you, and there will be people that 100% agree with you and are drawn to you much more tightly and closely because they see somebody that agrees with what they are thinking. And so I can actually, you know, harden my following, my core following with those types of people. And maybe I'll sort of push away a few of the others, but generally speaking, it creates more engagement. It opens up a conversation. It makes you less one-dimensional, where you're only talking about marketing. It makes people realize that you've got opinions and you've got, you know, things that you believe in. And so, and it's the same with religion. I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in man-made religions, but I am spiritual. You know, I believe in, you know, there's something. And so I will make some posts about that, you know, and sometimes it will create a bit of engagement and a few arguments, but at least people know where I stand on certain things, and they can then judge me and judge my character by all those things. So my partner, Susan, does get a little bit upset sometimes when I put somebody's posts up, you know, and because she doesn't like to cause, or wants me to cause any kind of, you know, controversy. But at the same time, I like to mix things up a bit. So, you know, it's just once you've been doing this for such a long time, you feel like you are, you know, you should be a little bit more open about what your beliefs are and what your ideologies are. And so, you know, I don't think it's done me a lot of harm, to be honest with you. I think it's, I may have lost a few followers here and there, and I noticed a few people have unfriended me since I started talking about Donald Trump. So, you know, that is a polarizing issue, you know, if ever there was one. But, you know, so what? There are billions of people out there and millions that agree with certain things that I believe in, you know, so.
Definitely something I need to do more of.
I think you have to, if you're going to market on Facebook, and I do it, as you know, I'm every single day I post something. I think you have to keep things switched up. You've got to be able to generate interest. You've got to be able to generate engagement. You've got to get people talking. because of Facebook's algorithm, the more people are communicating on your posts, liking, sharing, commenting, that's going to keep your posts in the the feed. So you've got to be creative in that respect. And if you've been doing this for 5 years, like I have, you can't just continuously post the same thing over and over again. People switch off. So you have to put something in there every now and again that's going to create a little bit of controversy and get people, thinking and engaging on your posts. And so, it's like I did a post yesterday. I said I was moving to America. But I'm not actually, if you read the post, it was just a joke.
Yeah.
But it generated, I'm just going to look on my Facebook. That one post generated, let's see now, let me see, 196 likes, 75 comments. So, where am I? That's better. Right, I lost myself for a second. Yeah, so that one post created a lot of activity on my Facebook wall. And of course, when people come on your wall, especially new people who might, they might see it because one of my followers has liked it and they might have seen a notification or something. They might come to my wall and then start scrolling down and they might come across some of the businesses that I'm talking about, some of my videos. And then that's how you build your following, that's how you build interest.
Speaking of building followings, I know obviously after we met at Dublin Airport, you made a post with a picture of myself and yourself. And, I think you mentioned, I'll go friend them or watch out for the show. My phone melted for hours just buzzing with friend requests.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It just meant like, at one point I had to turn it off because it was just...
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, again, I think when you're developing friendships online and you're building relationships with business partners, it's important to try to give back and to bolster your teammates or your friends, and open them up to your followers and other people. And I think that's what will develop a stronger relationship over time, with your business partners. Because, for example, with some of we may not be in the same business, but I think you're in one of the opportunities that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
And, we like to do multiple different income streams, and we may have different sponsors, but sometimes we have a crossover when we're working together on things. Yeah. And, you may well attract more people onto that particular business, which again will in turn help my business. So, it's give and take. And I think some people are too concerned about, I can't, I don't want anyone else in my group, or I don't want anyone else, on my friends list. I don't want anyone to take my friend. It's a bit silly, really, because at the end of the day, everyone makes their own minds up on what they want to join, what they want to be involved with, who they want to work with, and you can't be too protective of it. I think you've got to just be yourself, and whoever comes to you will come to you, and whoever doesn't won't. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I like having newer people on this show too, because it puts a little spotlight on them.
Yeah,
it's great to have someone like yourself come on, because even though it's great content for people to get to know you a little bit better, it 100% helps me as well.
100%, because it and I'm not saying that this is the case, but because my name is mentioned, and maybe because I've been known for a long time, that will attract more people to watch you and your show, and they're going to get to know you more, and some of those people who may be in my business, they might join you in another business because they've seen you and are like you. That's fine. As far as I'm concerned, that is us, all of us working together to expand the whole industry in a way, and I think that's how we should look at it. I don't think we should be too protective of our team members and associates. I think you just got to allow people to make their own decisions on what they want to do and who they want to work with, and I think that's how it should be. I think that's right, and hopefully, one of the reasons I wanted to come onto your show, and I was very humbled that you invited me, is because it not only showcases myself, but it also showcases your business. And I knew that would help to expand your following. So it was it's forget the word I'm looking to use, but it works for both of us in a way, and if I can give some information that, even if it's just a small little bit of information that suddenly triggers somebody else to suddenly open their mind up to something, go, right, I didn't realize that, I can try that, then that's a good thing. It's sharing the knowledge, sharing the information.
I think from even the new guys that have been on, but I think I've taken a little nugget from every guest.
Yeah.
Because seeing different or hearing people's different points of views it just changes how you can think about things. And I think that's why other people are enjoying the show as well, because it's not a presentation. It's not like, here, look at these slides. And
it's a conversation. It's a conversation between individuals in the same industry, and sharing information again, and opening it up to other people, because we do see sometimes marketers creating their own products. Let's say, Facebook ads or marketing strategy, and they're charging money for those products.
Yeah.
And I personally feel that that sort of information should be openly accessible to everybody, in order to help people build their businesses. And so I would much rather give information away for free and then have somebody join me in my business than have to create and package a marketing, a product that I then go out and say to people, if you come and buy this, you're going to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
Only one person is really benefiting, in my view. I think information should be open to everyone.
I always think of it as good karma. Like, obviously, I do this like Yellow Brick Road, or I'm an admin in the Yellow Brick Road group with Mark Crosby. But he offered that to me because I sat there and I helped everyone, even when I didn't know. I'd go and learn, and I'd come back and I'd make a little video and send it to them. It like teams and all that kind of stuff should never matter. If you can genuinely help someone, just help someone, because eventually it'll come around.
Yeah, I think you're right. People will always remember, what you've done for them. And, I've had people come to me who've been involved with other leaders and other businesses and said, I liked what you did and you shared that information. That's helped me. So, I want to join you in the next thing, and it's what happens. So, yeah, I think the more we share information, the more that we help people get started and, I think trying to get them to open up their mind to certain things is important. Try to get them to shift their mindset, and get on this kind of self-education bandwagon. Get them to go down that path, because that will really open them up and help them in all kinds of ways, not just in network marketing, but in their life in general. Yeah. In terms of confidence and the speaking ability and all this kind of stuff. I think that's is as important as well as sharing sort of technical knowledge and strategies and stuff. Is that motivational side of it.
Yeah. Speaking of motivation and confidence, obviously you're on a new kind of a journey this year. You've joined the gym, and are you finding that's helping with your confidence and your motivation?
Yes. Like I say, I always like to be transparent. I mean, 2018, we're now in 2019. 2018 was probably my worst year within the industry. And I'm happy to, be honest about that. And a lot of that was down to, I think, the fact that I had neglected my health. And I put on a lot of weight throughout the course of 2018. I suffered a lot of different illnesses that I hadn't experienced before. And it knocked me back. It knocked my confidence, my energy levels, my creative juices were not flowing. And I felt lethargic. I didn't want to do anything. And, I got to a point, I think it was really around October time, and I just said to myself, this has got to change. I spent a long time changing my mindset in terms of business and, my financial situation. Now I need to change my mindset in terms of my health situation. I would class myself as somebody that's got a very light frame. I'm about 5'11", got a light frame, and I was probably around about 16 stone, 16 stone 4, 16 stone 5. For me, my natural body weight should be around about 12 stone, I would say. 11.5 to 12 stone. So I was carrying, probably 50 or 60 pounds of weight that I shouldn't be carrying, and it was having all kinds of problems. So I made a conscious decision to re-energize myself in terms of mindset and focus on my health. And so I decided to join a gym. I decided to pay for a personal trainer, someone that could motivate me, keep me on my toes, help me with the exercises, help me with my diet. And I started that at the end of November, and from there up to today, I've been religiously sticking to my fitness plan, my eating plan, the food that we're having. We've changed our diets, myself and my partner, doing it together. I've been in the gym 3 to 4 days a week. I've been out jogging, getting myself, back into shape, and I've lost, about a stone in weight now. I'm feeling so much better. It's unbelievable. I'm sleeping better. I'm feeling more energized. My creativity is starting to come back. My energy is coming back, and I'm feeling much more eager to, get back into my marketing in a big way. And so that to me is another part of the journey, is to keep myself in good health. I'm not, I'm in my middle 50s now. So it's important that I focus on that aspect. And I think all of that together is going to help me with my business moving forward. And at the end of the day, what's the point of having all this free time and making all this money if you haven't got the health to, enjoy it and make use of it? So I would stress to everybody that they need to think about that side of the business, because it's a very sedentary life. When you're working behind the desk and you're marketing, it's a very sedentary industry. You're pretty much sat down in front of a computer, and the tendency is, especially when you go full time and you're working from home, the tendency is to be spending a lot of time behind your desk, going out, snacking, grabbing biscuits and cups of coffee, and just constantly picking throughout the day, eating. And very quickly things can start to go wrong. And I've realized that now, and I've made that conscious. Again, it's a mindset shift to going from where I was to now leading a much healthier lifestyle. And I've cut out things like sugar, and that was the tough one. That was the hardest thing, was cutting out the sugar in my coffee. I used to have 2 sugars in my coffee, cutting out the cakes, the crisps, the chocolate, the fatty foods, the puddings, all the things that I love. Getting my mind focused on eliminating the majority of that from my diet. I mean, I still treat myself occasionally, but getting that out of my diet and seeing a shift towards healthy eating and nutrition. And since I started doing that, I've seen a dramatic change, and I'm now being able to fit into clothes that I couldn't fit into. I had to buy a belt the other day because my trousers were starting to go loose. And I'm enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying getting out, going down to the gym, meeting people down there, spending time away from the desk and the computer, and feeling energized, feeling energetic.
Yeah, you're looking fresher.
Getting rid of the 3 chins that I used to have. It's amazing, and it will definitely help me on my journey with my business and my marketing, because my mind is working faster. I feel sharper. I feel more creative, and I think this is an important element of the business overall, is to keep yourself. I mean, in life in general, anyway, but it definitely has a very good impact.
But that's great that your partner's kind of on board as well, because it makes it easier at home. Just, when people are like trying to stop smoking, maybe one partner's trying and the other partner's still going out for their smokes, and you can be like, I'll just have one, or I'll just have one biscuit. My partner's having one, I'll have one. But it's great that she's on board.
Yeah, I pushed it. I had to push it, and when she started to see the results, then the light bulb went off, and suddenly it was like, okay, this is working for him. I need to do something now. And so now it's a combined thing. We're working together in terms of the food that we eat, nutrition, exercise. We're working, and so by me taking that stance, it's now helping somebody else. So, and I think because I'm posting stuff online on my Facebook page, people are getting motivated as well, and maybe I'm having an impact with other people as well. So,
yeah,
which is always a good thing.
Definitely, because I think, well, certainly with men, I think when we reach a certain age, you kind of go, I'm done. Like, but if someone like in their early 50s can say, okay, I'm making a change, I'm going to go hit the gym, I'm going to make myself healthier. It goes back to that thing where if I can do it, you can do it.
One of my goals is to get my body back into a better shape than when I was in my 20s. And I know the shape I was in when I was in my 20s. I was, pretty fit. I was a very keen runner, mountain biker, motocross rider. I was always doing something active. I was playing five-a-side football. Always, kept my body in a good trim state. But I actually want to get back to that, and if not, stronger and better. And if I can do that in my middle 50s, that will inspire other people of my age group, or maybe in their 40s, to say, actually, I can be in good shape for many, many years, and I don't have to let myself go and get that middle age spread and become overweight and let your posture slip. There's all kinds of benefits that it has, and I think if I can motivate people in that direction as well as with the online, then to me that's gives me a lot of pleasure to hear when people say, oh, that post you did and your results has inspired me to go on to do something for myself. So that's reward in itself, in a way.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic goal to have, to kind of aim for.
Yeah.
But well, it's very apparent that once you make your mind up on something, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's you have to decide. You make a choice. For me, at least that's how I feel, is that once I make the decision, that's it. I've made the decision. I'm not going to go back. It's like giving up smoking. If you make the decision to give up, you give up and you don't go back on it. Or anything. I've made the decision that I'm going to get myself in absolutely the best shape of my life, and I will do whatever I have to do to make it happen. And there are days, when you wake up in the morning and your body is aching all over from the previous session, and you've got to, and it's pouring with rain outside, and you've got to get in the car and drive down to the gym and go through the process, or go into the change rooms, or, and then go in there and doing your first. That's not always appealing.
Yeah.
Some days I feel like, I don't think I'll go in today. I think I'll give it a miss.
Yeah.
And I know in my head that if I do that, then I'll do it again and again, and I'll go backwards. And I do not want that to happen. So I push myself every single day to make sure that I do what I need to do to create the change and to fulfill my goals. And it's the same with my business. Sometimes, especially in the early days when I was in some businesses, I would have to get up at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning to watch a webinar that was taking place in the United States, because I needed to get the information. And I'd have to and I'd go through that. I didn't want to have to get out of bed and get up and watch the webinar, but I knew it wasn't recorded, so I had to be there. I had to get the right information there. And I did that, and it's the same thing with my health. I know that I've got to go down to that gym minimum of 3 days a week. I've got to go do my jogs. I've got to go out and get out on I run around the cricket field. Got to do it. It's not pleasant sometimes. The weather can be crap, especially in this UK.
Yeah.
But I got to do it, and if I do it long enough, it becomes a habit, and then that habit sticks, and you just start to enjoy it, and it becomes part of your daily routine, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, so I used to go on my way home from night shifts, because I actually have to drive by the gym to come home. But I knew if I go home, I'm not going back. So I just stop on my way home from work, do what you have to do, and then leave.
Yeah. But it takes strength of character to do that, and that's really, it defines you as an individual. If you can stick to something, make it happen, fulfill those goals, that tells you that you are a strong character, you've got strong mental capacity, and that you've got certain beliefs that you're going to stick to. And I think that's the sort of people that I want to work with. People that give up after 5 minutes. Oh, I didn't get anywhere. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it must be. Oh, it's a scam. Or I went to the gym. Oh, it didn't see any change. They go a couple of times, and they give up. To me, those people, they lack the character, they lack the mental strength, and they just live in mediocrity, and they don't get the best out of themselves. I read somewhere that most people operate at about 40% capacity of what they're capable in all aspects of their life. And I started reading a book. It's written by a guy called David Goggins. He's an American guy. He's an ex-Special Forces Navy SEAL, and it's a biography. He basically went from this guy who had no self-belief. He was 300 pounds. He was going nowhere. His brother died. His father had been killed in a robbery. He could have gone down the path of into drugs and all this kind of stuff, but instead he joined the Marines, and he went on to become the number one Navy SEAL in the United States, and traveled all over the world as a SEAL. Then went on to become an Ironman, an athlete, and literally just became the number one in whatever it was he was doing. And he was saying about how he had to push himself, the mental strength he had to, the problems he had to overcome, losing the weight, going to the gym, going out there, pounding the roads, putting in the effort, and really being the best that he could be. And most people don't think like that. Most people don't want to be the best that they can be. And my attitude has shifted over the last 5 years from being somebody that never really believed in himself, never really believed that he could make anything of himself, to somebody now that is firmly determined to become a better person, whether it's in my health or my wealth or my relationships. I want to be the best version of me that I can possibly be. And I know it won't happen unless I really focused and put every effort into it. And that's what I'm doing now, because I've had that mindset shift. Yeah. I don't want to live in mediocrity. I don't want to work for somebody else and have to work 40, 50 hours being told what to do by somebody else. I want to have the freedom. I want to have the health. I want to have the wealth. I want to be able to travel. I want to do all the things that I think we've been put on this earth to do. And the only person that can make it happen is myself. No one else can do it for me. No one can make that happen for me. I have to do it myself. And that means, being focused and determined and having the mental strength to push through the pain, the fear, all the obstacles that we get confronted with. And that's come about because I made a decision, a choice to change. And I read the books. I fed myself with positive energy. I mixed with people that had a more positive outlook on life. And the more I do that, the easier it becomes.
I can 100% relate, and I think sometimes I comment on your posts, and I think we've walked a similar kind of road, because I was the same. Like, I don't particularly think I was ever good at anything. I wouldn't have been confident growing up or any of that. But the more you work on yourself, you find that confidence, you find where you believe you belong, and you find something you're good at, and that, more importantly, that you enjoy. And if you start to enjoy something and you can get paid from it,
Yeah,
you're winning.
exactly. And a lot of it is just practice,
Yeah.
repetition. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. When I first started doing video marketing, I would watch some of these people doing videos, and then maybe the videos would last like 8 minutes. And I would look at it and think, how on earth could he remember all that stuff? How could he speak for 8 minutes? Right? And, you know, and I would try and do video and I couldn't think of anything to say, and I'd last about 2 minutes. Now, if I go on a video, I can't shut up. I can't stop. They can go on for 40 minutes, you know, an hour sometimes. And it just flows because I practiced and I kept learning and educating myself. And, you know, now I could get up and speak for half an hour without any issue on most things, you know. Whereas in the past, when I first started, I would struggle to get out, you know, 2 minutes worth of content. So
yeah, well, I'm kind of similar. I hope that I'm getting better as time goes on, and obviously the show should help.
Oh yeah, well, definitely will. Yeah, I think it's the right path. Definitely the right path to go down. Yeah.
Well, I'm very, very conscious of the time, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on, Stephen. It's very much appreciated.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I hope, you know, I mean, I haven't gone into my story, which is could take another hour, you know, but the reality is that I hope some people might just take the fact that, you know, perseverance, dedication, patience, determination, those are the key elements that you need as an individual to take you further in your business. You know, everything else can be learned. Everything else can be, you know, it's a course that you can go through, you know, whether it's Facebook marketing, ads, learning how to put a website together. Those are just things that you can learn. What will really take you forward is that, you know, it's your heart, what you've got inside. You know, are you prepared to put yourself through what you need to put yourself through to get to where you want to be? And is your motivation and drive and is your reasons for change strong enough to make you go through that, you know? And for me, that's what I believe is going to take people to the next level. It's having that determination and to say to hell with everybody else. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter whether someone's going to try and ridicule me, you know, because I said something on a Facebook Live, or they're going to think I'm foolish. It doesn't matter. Those people aren't paying my wages. They're not paying my bills. They're not putting food on my table. They're not doing anything to contribute to my well-being. So why do I need to listen to anyone? Just do what you believe in and just get it out there, you know, and don't care about what anyone else says. As long as you're not hurting any individuals, or you're not trying to scam people and take their money, as long as you believe in what you're doing, just get it out there, you know, and go from the heart and don't give up. That's really, I think, my message for people is just keep pursuing your dreams, you know, keep pursuing those goals. Because if you do, eventually you'll get there. And if you give up, all you're going to do is go backwards, and you'll end up exactly where you don't want to be. So
that is literally the best advice I think anyone's ever said on the show. But I should snippet it out and just send it to you and put it on your channel.
Let's hope people listen to it. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate being invited on, and good luck with the rest of the shows. I should be tuning in, watching them, and I think it's going to do really well. So, you know, best of luck with that.
Very kind of you to say. Guys, if you have watched till now and you'd like to work with Steve or myself, please, we're very easy to find on social media. There's going to be some links under the video. No matter what platform you're watching it on, just reach out. Steve is super approachable, extremely nice guy. And just you're going to see links for his YouTube channel, and I'll put a link in for back to his Facebook as well. Until then, this has been a Look Behind the Post, and I'll see you next week. Thanks very much.